let's begin with Myamon's lineup. And as I mentioned before, basically all the decks in this tournament are unique. Let's move on to Myamon's opponent, which will be TGX. My original prediction when we were looking through the decks, we have Scoia'tael vs Scoia'tael, kind of a mirror, but really not, because these decks are completely different, despite running the same leader ability. One is very engine heavy, one is super control heavy. The question is, which will be able to come out on top? Will Myamon be able to stick the engines? Will TGX be able to answer the engines? Notably, mover only reads whenever an enemy unit moves during your turn, so it won't sort of go through when all the other units are moving. But what this does mean is that a back row sentry is super important for TGX to kill, not only because it gets value for all the other movements happening in Myamon's deck itself, but because TGX also wants to move opposing units. The sentry is sort of acts as a defensive buffer. And we see sentry number 1, we see a boost. And at 9 power, this is very difficult to deal with. You could move it to the other row, but A, your milf would come out and you couldn't put it back in deck, and B, it's super cheap for Myamon to move the sentry back to the back row, with either playing the Milena or playing out a leader. Instead we're going to go Pyrotech. Not bad. You can set up a 50-50 on whatever the next unit played is. Which is why this Megascope is super nice, because it means that instead of having one unit, it's going to be 3 units. Although, instead of having 2 units, 3 units makes the Pyrotech less likely to hit what it wants. But maybe it only needed to hit that one unit, because now the Rough Barrage comes through.
You see? You must hold between your teeth.
Megascope is still nice. The fact that it spawns the sentry before the Dryad Matron moves means both these units get a little bit of boost going already. And at 6 power, this sentry is a lot harder to kill off than otherwise, and unfortunate that due to the way sentry is ranged locked, you have to play your matron back row as well, and it does play into this Doppelthan environment, which otherwise you could play around by playing your units front row. You see, maybe to play around the second backup plan, that's why you play the cow which just sort of moves to the front row, wouldn't be vulnerable to a second sort of Berman roll.
Never had your kneecaps broken.
Okay. Damage coming through. You can try to play your second cow witch, just see if you high roll a bit of damage onto it. Or commit a leader to do so. You can remove the armor. But note, however, that moving it to the back row doesn't deny the order, because the order is only locked behind barricade. It's only the deploy that's locked behind melee. It's actually just going to kill it straight outright using the Unicorn Tyrannex combo early, pulling Roach out. It's a bit of a commitment here, but I think it's fair. You do want to try to, you know, get the round control if you can, in an engine control matchup typically. So you're not, you can decide when to play things, whether you want to bleed or you don't have to be vulnerable to getting bled. Yeah, there's not much you care about removing. Maybe you remove a chariot otherwise, but it's only like 1 point per turn, sort of, if the cram is played in the same round.
Your magic can't
Very
harm
quick
me.
maxi, I didn't
No
quite
magic can.
catch what was what there. Yeah, it's a substantial point lead now for Myamon. Getting 2 points per turn. It does take the pass, so Catwitcher at German 3. It's not going to be within 2 damage at any point this round. Still a substantial point gap, and it's... How does TGX catch up in 1? Yeah, that is my question. This seems like a whole lot of respect just not given. You could in the area for Heat Wave, but then you're still down by 3, and you need 4 points to catch up. You need like 2 leaders in a Heat Wave to do it. That's not great. Okay, it's gonna be Waters. And 2 leaders? That sounds terrible. That basically just means you can't do any Schirru stuff later on. I guess you can just commit the Saboteur, although the problem is you need to be careful about your Milva. And I'm not sure of the sequencing. If you remove the Chironix, will it actually work? Regardless, goes to the Chariot, able to proc the Harmony due to the machine tag not existing on board beforehand, and that will do the trick. Now we continue to round 2. I wonder if we're going to see a bleed 2 cards down here. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. It would be a bit awkward. You'd really want, I think, Mahakam Pass here to lead. So, with the Mahakam Pass not found on the Mulligans, going to have to commit to it through the Neuromancy. That's the second Neuromancy charge born as well, so it means that in terms of finding things like this Heat Wave, that's a 50-50 on whether you'll find it in the next Mulligan phase, depending on whether you've thinned out with Simless this round. It might not be a 50-50 if the Maxi was kept, but with how quick the Maxi was clicked, I think it would have been a shuffle.
We dance, for young is the night.
So, Scroll maybe isn't the bestest pull for TGX, but you can use it to try to shut down the Necromancy, and hey, at the very worst, it enables you to have another body, the Simless Armorer's Workshop, to play that earlier on if you want to. But my question is, if you play the Simless this round, you need to get a lot done, because you won't have many points to put on your side of the board in the round 3.
Style, that's right. I like fighting with style.
So protecting to 4. I guess just trying to play around the backup plan. We see the second cat which are getting banished by the squirrel. It wouldn't have made much sense to get rid of Sentry, even if you thought that was more powerful, because there's 2 of them, the Necromancy would still be available. So you're actually limiting the options a little bit more. There's the Milva now. Makes sense to play the Milva after the Catwitcher, because on the turn you play her without anything else on board, Milva's not doing much. Whereas Catwitcher does something the turn you play it here. Granted, only units on the front row means that this Catwitcher isn't doing awfully much. It's also hitting armor now, which can take away points from the Dennis Crammer, but only if you hit the units, which Dennis isn't boosting.
I hate you! Curse you, Dwan!
And this is nice. You can move the Berserker to disrupt the Dennis Crammer a bit, set up the Catwitcher value into both rows. Yeah, cute little play. So now the Dennis is playing for 15. Just solid. It'll probably give TGX a pass. But
Maybe relax the heat while I'm at it.
so, okay, yeah, so it makes sense. Use your own leader charge because, you know, TGX is also running this leader. They can move their units. But yeah, by using an offensive Melina, you force an early leader charge and maybe make the Schirru a bit less powerful. Schirru at 6 could be a possibility that you need to worry about.
Yield and save me some time.
Yeah, it is the Sentry coming back. Note the row stacking here to try to maximize that Gaetan value. And yeah, the Necromancy found means it will be Frog Mating season left for a short round. You could Schirru at 7 potentially. You would be able to kill the Catwitcher, the Melina, and Cyrenova if you use a leader on her. Problem is you wouldn't be able to put Milva back in the deck, but at this point, maybe that's alright.
Don't you fret about me. Can take care of myself.
Or at 8 instead, because that also triggers these. Whoops. I don't know if TGX was thinking what I was thinking, or had accounted for this. It looks like the Catwitcher will stick around.
To kill.
And in theory, if Myamon wanted, they could play their own Catwitcher Saboteur to kill off the Milva. I don't think it's that important to do so. And you probably would rather try to maximize your own points, because you're down 40 now. But Mentor, Gaetan probably does the trick with these double sentry. I would expect. You do have the Geralt Gwen to pull even more Mentors. Yeah, so it is going to be the location to begin with. Mentor, Megascope Spawn will help give an extra point over. Realistically, both of these players aren't going to have awfully much left the next round. Big Catwitcher Saboteur value there. Very nicely done. Getting rid of the unit is great for getting less value on the Mentors and the Gaetan. So it's a Sentry, it would have done so much in terms of just core value. Yeah, the short round is going to be
Never enjoyable, but easier.
interesting, to say the least. Yeah, I'm not going to do the maths. We'll see if Gaetan is enough to do this in one. And if Myamon can get the card advantage. I think in particular, You want to just have a long enough round 3 so you're able to get bodies for the frog mating season.
Damn it.
Okay, Scoia'tael when
Admit I
for the
lost my temper.
gate.
Lost it bad.
And looks like that will do the trick here. Was the Garroquin necessary? I played for like 5 more points. I'm not convinced you needed to commit the Garroquin rather than just the decree. Finds the frogs. Ooh. Okay, Mentor gets stitched for this matron. Just...
Scoia'tael and shit.
It's annoying that this is already back row, because you can't really like just lead her at once to keep it on the front row. These are to keep it alive, really. So instead you... okay, sure. Instead you just get rid of the armor. And there's no card left in TGX's deck which gives armor on deploy, chariot, and give it on order. But not straight away, so you'd have enough time to protect this sentry with the frog mating season. And some nice licks with the Sticker Castle to maximize sort of the frogs with the vitality and the matron moves as well. Okay, yeah. You get Heatwave the Sentry despite it being low power because it boosts any of the further frog movements. It's also why we started can use that turn to maximize that, but it doesn't end up mattering. There's just such a huge point gap there. The lined pockets on red coin. I could be wrong here. I don't have faith in the flurry against knights. So it is gonna be flurry against knights. That is my original prediction again. Maybe I've got my merger back. Maybe I am able to make these predictions. I think I didn't even mention that. Oh yeah, there's Axel in this deck, by the way. For a Golden Egg mid-range deck, yeah, you're gonna run Axel. It's 11 for 7. Does the job, gets you multiple bodies on board. Not susceptible to Toll Punish. A little bit too wide, but not overly so. Like, no one runs Lacerate or anything anyways, and it trades up to Lacerate by like 3 points. It's like... okay. What do we have here for TGX? So we have Downed Sork in hand, missing the Immortals, but you can find that with either the AA or use the Lady Lake to get a Neomancy, which might just be the play.
Welcome back, Geralt of Rivia.
Notably, the start of the rounds are the most important, potentially against Reckless Flurry, because that's when this leader is the most important, when there's not that many units. We do see a commitment. I think the pings did not go the way that Myamon wanted. Yeah, I was wishing for 3 pings on the Immortals. Is that right?
Hey!
Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. Now Gigascorp. Yeah, so Gigascorp is just the 6 damage. I'm not sure if the Immortals was like 5 power if the Gigascorp would fully resolve before the boost from losing shield. I think Gigascorp would fully resolve first.
Axe formation.
Okay, now we see the Ulula. I think Myamon doesn't mind playing Ulula round 1 because you can bring it back with the Victory if it's right anyways.
I hope we can trust you.
And Ulula gets locked up. So much for the Ulula, which granted, her only real synergy here would have been like this Brockvale Warrior and Berserker, playing for potentially 5 more points there. And again, it would have been nice to get the order as well. Could have used that to combo to maybe kill off something else.
Halt! Don't retreat! Damn it!
With the lack of Toll Punish, it's not easy to deal with a infused Vandergrift like this. It's just going to keep boosting.
Envy veins, my blood boils and churns.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't see a way to deal with it. I mean, you can look at the rest of the deck. There's not much trick. Maybe, I mean, and the leaders are gone anyways, which just makes it even more impossible. Just to put a cherry on top, this Knight Errant might be able to give Vandergrift the infusion to boost by 2 when the shield gets removed. Yeah, with full leader already committed, Myamon has to, at minimum, win round 1. And ideally, win on even. Which... yeah, okay, you can Gigascorp the Knight Errant here, but the Vandergrift engine is still ticking the whole time. Granted, TGX has incentive to pass here. Oh, actually... yeah, actually, yes. Because if TGX passed, Myamon passed, the Vandergrift wouldn't have triggered its Grace. Now though, the Vandergrift is going to trigger his Grace, which means the Resilience is only going to go through into round 2. It's not going to be able to get Resilience going into round 3. The Brockvale Warrior used Pops Windhelm's Shield. This would force a preemptive leader for TGX to put that back. You could also just play Knight Errant and leave the Knight Errant to give it a shield. And this time, if the shield were to get popped, then Windhelm would achieve its Grace. But decides to hold off on the leader, saying that's not necessary right now. It's still going to
I'll cleave you in two.
get there. What if the Bellager has anything to say about it? Fallen Knight is currently falling from Grace.
Odd. Feeling a bit of deja vu.
See if the leader will be able to restore its luster and it won't be tarnished anymore. So there we go. Oh, actually, I kind of misspoke before. That if the Knight Errant triggered its Grace due to its own effect and not the leader, that would have happened after the Windhelm tried to resolve in like the turn end effect sequencing, which meant that the Windhelm would have only been still at 6 power at the end of that turn. The placement there matters a bit, but not if you use the leader to get the boost. Actually, yeah. I think, technically speaking, yeah, the winter home should have been played between the Squire and Bandigift, but maybe that's thinking a bit far ahead. And that's too many points though from Myamon. I don't think Myamon would have even been able to catch up with spending this entire hand. Notably, this phrase blessing was dead. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, although the funny thing is, right now TGX doesn't have cards to fully resolve this scenario. Okay, now they could. This is a stacked hand from TGX, and Myamon's still missing the Necker. No way to tutor it either. I think this deck is running a Matol from memory? No, it's not. And so let's just take a long round saying that I'll get more value out of my Grace just going long round here. More engine value. I think this is... it wouldn't really matter either way. Then again, seeing that there's no golden necker, I think it would have been fine. Cyranova's not enough. This is the Vandergrift. Guess this is when the summoning circle is nice. No, plays a great sword instead. What is the point of the summoning circle then? If you don't play it now, when do you play it? Like, wouldn't you love to just use it to pull a greatsword for free? With those... oh wait, no, you needed points. Okay. Scratch that. Okay, silver lining for Myamon is going first with the 8 points of resilience. Can help deny some erendite value. So maybe you'll be able to keep the erendite at 9 for a bit of time, but you also don't find golden necker. So much. Okay, you could find it with a Unicorn Chironex play. Yeah, it is great sword being pulled from the summoning circle. Actually, no, you don't even find Chironex or Decree. Nor Gwen. Yeah, okay, this is... I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it, but...
What do you need?
it just feels like Myamon has a motley array of bronzes without much synergy. It just feels sad. Yeah, you can bring Ulula back. It has like 2 bronze warriors that could work with here. Would have been nice to have the Hyoka doubling damage with it. Does Hyoka ignore armor? No. Why do I think she used to ignore armor or something? Oh no, it's Ulula that does. Right. Well, Ulula just dies again anyways. Oh man. Okay, that was not a convincing showing from that Skellige deck. The top 8 qualifier will be taking place on the 5th and 6th, where that will be the 8 crown point ranked players, not from ladder, but based by crown points. They'll get to fight for a spot. It will be a double elimination bracket, and the winner of each bracket will get to go through into the finals, the main event. And that will be 4 players facing off for the biggest event of the entire year. It's going to be great. Make sure you save these dates. Okay. It is... Okay, so it is Scoia'tael on the red coin again. But I am a bit surprised seeing this Skellige on blue coin. But then again, I still haven't really seen the Skellige deck coming to fruition, I think, right now, so... Let's see what it has in the bag. It's going to be Axel to begin with. And I really want to see what the summoning circle is going to do. Like, are we going to play it early in round 1? Are we going to set it up as round 2 carryover? What's the play? What's the move? So that is Rothar Warrior getting discarded. I think that makes sense since there won't be that many units for it to damage right now. It will struggle getting that full 6 damage value.
What's 3 hours in the hours? A pinprick, that's what! Uh-oh.
Yeah, a lot of armor on TGX's side. Gonna be hard for these berserkers to really get that damage value. And additionally, if you're not dealing damage, your greatsword isn't going to be healing. But at the very least, playing the greatsword here does set up a megascope. But that does rely on the greatsword sticking, which a backup plan might be able to kill off the greatsword. You could go for maybe the Frenzied Dow if you so choose as well to get the guaranteed kill. That might be a little bit too aggressive. Backup plan looks like it will miss here. You can still get the 1 damage and commit a leader if you want to kill it that way.
Too fast for you, Dwan.
Greatsword sticks for now. It's the Mega Sword. Can you win this round as TGX? What would you be willing to commit? I don't think you can commit Simless, Dennis, Schirru, really. So yeah, and just decides to get out of it. In the round 2 here, we could see the Siri Nova and the Summoning Circle, which can play for potentially 18, or more than 18 really, because this will be at 12 in round 3. 20 points resilience, which is a lot. And in a short round, yeah, maybe that Summoning Circle can just do the trick. See that as the play to begin with here.
And the forest is me.
I think the 2 big things that Square has here is the Schirru and the Sinless combo. So Myamon's deck can't directly do much against the Schirru. Wow, Hyoko just heat waved straight up. Oh no, that was Ulula. No, wait, oh, that was Siri. Wrong girl. So So yeah, you can't really do much to deal with this unless you can kind of bleed it out, but then you'd have your own points to deal with it. The Schirru, you're also kind of stuck. But you can, the only way you can really interact with them by bleeding, by forcing them out, or by splitting up the rounds so that you have less units on board at once. Now we're going to go into a long round 3. This tends to be when Schirru gets most value, you know, most units on board. But pound for pound, it might just be the case that Myamon is able to outpoint with point slam versus control. How's the Golden Echo looking? So we're going to have Praise Blessing and Hyun Kaduk coming through. We have Decree to pull the Geralt Quen into Bear Witcher combo as well. Proven Chariot to begin with is quite nice for TGX. You just double leader this as Myamon though. I think you might just need to do that.
You wanna light the pace? Then fucking Skellige!
Relatively, if Ulula was 6 power, it could be killed with just a Rock Barrage with the Milva clip. As is, you need to sink another leader charge here for TGX to get the kill. And then I'm probably just see it coming back with this Sigdrifer's right. Quite nice find with the Berserker though. This means that the Ulula can be damaged to 6 and then it's vulnerable to Rock Barrage this next turn. Although, instead we're going to go minor. This gives a bit more flexibility on the Schirru. Okay, now we're gonna use the leaders to kill off a unit.
I swear it upon the gods, I will avenge
And with
my
the Ulula, the damage goes through from the Ulula, it goes through the armor, and you're able to clean up. That's a nice little play there by Myamon. Now you can Dow to get rid of the Hyuka. Hey look, maybe you don't need to kill the Ulula, maybe you care more about just killing the other warriors so that they... Well, if there's no other warriors, Ulula's not doing anything. There aren't that many warriors in this deck, really. At least damage dealing warriors.
He's a madman.
See, Greatsword comes out too. Also not to click the Hyuka straight away. Quite patient with this click. And again, it's not easy to deal 6 damage here for TGX. Unless the second Rock Barrage was available, which it is not right now. You also see that Neomancy was missed by TGX. They're just going to float a Vial. Can be used to set up a Schirru at 7. There's a 7 power unit. But I don't think there'll be much else at 7. We'll see what the Unicorn boosts, whether that'll maybe set up a bigger Schirru or how it's going to play around it. Mega Scope spawn on a 10-point Greatsword. These are all pretty high power units for Myamon, but kind of varied at in their power levels.
Just a bit for the revolution.
Don't you fret about me. Can take care of myself.
Okay. So we move them here. And float the Milva. Huh. So, the Bear Witcher is not online yet, but Unicorn Chironex is. Or, okay, or just Giga Sculpt Control. Okay, that does the trick. Never mind. And the Ulula keeps going. Yeah, and granted, TGX has quite a few points locked up in these artifacts, which aren't showing in the current point total.
Look what the
But-
bear capture I did.
A little bit harsh. Okay. That's the backup plan, and I believe Yurka did actually take damage from the backup plan, despite her being killed before coming back. She was still the last played unit, because this was a right summoned Megascope spawned, this just was special dealing damage, and able to hire all the bombs to kill off the Hyurka. So, finally, Hyurka is killed for the second time. Gets her warrior's funeral. And now we're going to Scoia'tael. For the dead, you have to use 2 leaders. But you're basically spending 2 leaders to deal 9 damage, which is fine. And then we're going to protect the Doctor and the Bomber because we want to have bodies on the board for the Sinless Armor's Workshop combo.
All that dancing around. It's not for me.
Who are you resurrecting there? Is it a greatsword? It is a greatsword. I don't know how much it's going to be able to kill here. Yeah, this Kaduk gonna get quite nice value.
Feign not ignorant. Remember to whom you speak.
And look, Sinless Dennis is a decent amount of points. But I don't think it's going to be enough here. In particular, you even have the quite a few very strong plays here. Probably you need to play Decree first to get the Geralt Quen. Otherwise, you run the risk of bricking as a Myamon. Wait, does this deck actually just fully thin? That's insane. Bit annoying to hit armor. I guess you can hit the Sims in the middle. In theory, it denies Dennis value, but TGX can just move the Sinless back row to still have the Dennis at 10 boost. 16-point Dennis, not too shabby. But yeah, not quite gonna do the trick. This isn't a good Rockwell Warrior by any means, but it's still going to be enough. Well, it could play for negative points and still be enough. So yeah. Hey, the Skellige gets through. I think this was probably going to be the best matchup for the Skellige, just having your control pairing up nicely, outvaluing this, your point slam outvaluing this control from the Scoia'tael. So, I think I've been pretty spot on with my predictions this series. I'm quite chuffed with myself. Quite chuffed indeed. Okay, King of Beggars in the starting hand. Smack that right out of here. I don't want to need to get a counter up for King of Beggar bricks. Please don't. That's why one of the good parts about spectating these line pockets intimidate lists is they don't run King of Beggars. There's no risk of bricking. You know what's better than one Novigrad? 2 Novigrads. I don't know how that's possible, since there's only one Novigrad in the world, but... Some things we just shouldn't question. Not a bad roll, getting the Eternal Fire Disciple here. 5 points on the board at once. Means you're safe from an immediate brawler from Myamon, unless they wanted to commit recharge.
Vistek, Eternal Fire, protect us.
Fallen Knights coming through. Has the Congregation in hand, which will pair up quite nicely. I'd like to set these up in the graveyard as well for the more far later on.
Could you say? Thought you'd never ask.
A very early vendor by TGX. Not sure what the goal was there. I mean, sure, Open Sesame is good, but like, you're not an Open Sesame deck.
Man's got the wares, if you've got the coin.
And the Open Sesame deck calls the pulling the strings. Aye aye aye. Still not a bad purge here. Able to get rid of the Eternal Fire Disciple. Bounty on the Shady Vendor as a result of the death blow. Does the trick.
We finish them, then I finish you.
BGFs are quite nice, particularly in this matchup when they're eager to get additional copies, because the BGFs are able to knock the bleed off of the Fallen Knights, and once they're at 5 power they're susceptible to pulling the strings, and once you've seized them they can't be brought back with Hammerfart later on. But there's currently only 3 games for TGX. Could play Plunder or the maybe Little Birds to get another. I mean, technically you could do the Mutant Makers too. Though you already have Firesworn, so it feels a little bit weird.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Okay, we're gonna go Little Bird. Use the leader first to maximize value. Bit of commitment using leader on blue coin here, but yeah. Not expecting Myamon to pass anytime soon. Oh. Little Bird has to have an earlier retirement due to an early payday. Maybe that's a bit euphemistic. So, still sitting at 3 games? No, 4 games. Yeah, still 4 games for TGX. That's another Eternal Fire Disciple. It's an efficient spender. 2 for 1 is never anything to scoff up. Well, unless you're playing into wide punish, then it's not great. But Brawler isn't really doing awfully much beyond just providing a 1-for-1 spender from Myamon. It could intimidate a little bit, but this is where push sort of comes to shove. TGX has a decent lead here. They've played out quite cheap cards as well to do so, whereas now Myamon is faced with having to play out a bit of a higher commitment card. Goes for the Coerced Blacksmith. Are we going to see a round 1 damnation? Because there's a Flying Rodanian in this deck. It took 7 cards into round 1 for it to come out.
Now this is a knife.
And it's coming.
Yes, you! Have
So
you
that's-
made your offering?
Yeah, that's a nice carryover now for TGX. Because this Flying Rodanian has had a bit of a mutiny. The Ghost Crew has turned on its previous captain. TGX taking control of the Ghost Ship. It's gonna be quite a bit of spending here. Quite a bit of spending here. Set up Damnation on the 8 for the Hammerfart, which another congregation is quite sweet here with Fallen Knight on board. But that's really all the Hammerfart does.
Gout.
There's,
He venerates not the fire!
there's literally no units in the graveyard. But it's enough to get ahead here. And before I said that, well, Myamon was going to have to make choices on what to commit to stay in this round. Now the question is, what will TGX commit if they want to stay in this round? Are you happy to give up Collusion? It's a pretty big commitment, but
Have you made your offering?
it's one you just have to make.
Remove his cowl,
No
then his
blinder
ear.
on board means the Collusion is quite a bit smaller than it otherwise could have been. Yeah, it's round 1 ending up not cheap for either of these players. And you'll also note that neither Novigrad has been clicked. Okay, and Myamon's out. Alright, so what is left? So there's still quite a bit. You have the Siggy Reuven, along with, say, Horse and Moros for the control. And I guess of note, there is this Open Sesame on 5 charges. I don't know if it will really be that easy to proc it again, but I mean, it's there. You bleed here as TGX. Probably would like to try to bleed out the Hammerfart. The question is,
Unfortunately,
okay, what can you use to do so? Unfortunately, you'd have to choose the cut off black if you wanted additional gain. So it's just going to be Cleric of the Flaming Rose. A bit of a refund from the King of Beggars, which not too shabby with that. But yeah, it doesn't help you getting additional gains, which would be nice to get extra value on the Little Bird or reduce the tribute on the Siggy Mastermind. Yeah, pretty good click actually from Myamon here. Tight click Ransackers doesn't have the Horde, but is able to get the Death Blow onto that token. So solid little 7 for 4. Gains don't really matter here for Myamon. It currently looks like Myamon will be able to steadily stay ahead. In fact, TGX just doesn't have a spender right now. And a little bit will help a little bit, but it can't spend all at once either. We're gonna keep going. Right now, the Jacques wouldn't help you with gains either. It doesn't get Salamandra tag until its 3rd form. So with the three games on board, we're gonna see this see Reuven, also the Mastermind, kill off the Tunnel Drill with the Horson Jr. And also, I guess just take out the Typecook Ransackers, because why not? You have coins, you may as well spend. And now this is quite a significant point deficit. And you gotta worry a bit about playing into this, because Cleaver gets answered quite tidily with some insanity from the Bloody Good Friends and the Horson Jr. Camelfart, just again, it's quite susceptible to this Horson Jr. Even if it's Fallen Knight, someone's would be able to stick. You end up playing with Cleaver. Myamon has this Open Sesame in hand, which it's not going to help much at catching up right now. And a very nice little bird here. There's 6 gains, that's a 2 for 6 spend. And yeah, as mentioned, Insanity cleans up that Cleaver.
The eternal fire lights our way. One, he venerates not the fire.
Halt! In the Order's name, I confiscate these goods.
Look, granted, it's not like the Camelfart really would have done much else here, since there's only one Firesworn unit in the graveyard, so it doesn't really matter if the Horson kills it.
Gaze into my eyes.
Flaming roll!
It's gonna be bank. Quite a big point gap here.
Hold now!
We must negotiate.
Yeah. That's not gonna be enough to proc the Open Sesame again. It might be enough with full leader, I think. Yeah, it will be. Barely. So it's going to be Horson Jr. in a short round, really, against more. Oh, they really just don't have much left on either side, and yeah. And even this Fallen Knight isn't particularly great in this short round. It does at least get a 2-point boost from the Eventide Plunder getting played. That's alright. There's some poison value here for TGX, which is nice since you're going second, you have reactivity, but Fallen Knight has Veil.
Come at me.
It's also worth noting, yeah, King of Beggars is out by now, so no choices with that either. Still just float the... Actually, if you... Oh no. If you float the 6 here, it just gets poisoned. Sorry, it just gets killed by the Horson. So yeah, you know, you have to use the Fist Tech and then play the Failed Experiment.
How many sweets could I get for a dime?
Then at that point, the Horson alone would... yeah, no. The last save is nice for TGX, it would have been a lot worse without the last save, but it's simply not enough into the Horson here. And a 2-point margin. Last save almost made it awkward enough, but by only 2 points, Myamon is able to take the win in the game and the win in the series as well. That's now going to be 3-1 victory here for Myamon, and punching the ticket through to the finals.